Hi and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to go through the Edulito baseline test, which is used for Key Stage 3. So years 7 to 9 will often be given this test at the start of the year just to assess their progress and to see how much they know at the start. Okay, so let's dive in and review the answers together. Okay, so question 1 talks about navigating a rover through a maze. Okay, and in this instance here we can't drive through any of the blocks marked in orange. Okay, and that's quite clearly stated up here. Okay, we've got 3 main instructions: FD, RT, and LT up here. Okay, and this can be followed by a number based on how many steps we want to turn. Okay, so RT and LT will never be followed by a number, but FD will. For example, FD3 here tells us for to go 1, 2, 3 steps. Okay, so that's the first thing there. So question 1 says, quite simply, this is the program that we're given. We're starting from point A in figure 2, which is down here. We can't go through the dark squares, but we need to follow this program and mark with a cross where the rover stops. Okay, so we're going to go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, turn right and go forward 3, 1, 2, and just take note to mark it with a cross. Quite often what students will do is maybe just do the dots, but not actually be clear in marking where the final destination is. But it's always good exam techniques to do exactly what the question asks you to do. Okay. Same again on part B, probably one that certainly for most of my students fell down on. Okay. So question B here says, the grid shows another location on Mars. This time using arrows, show the route you would take to get from A to B on figure 3. And then what they would do is actually they'd skip that bit, go straight to part C, write the correct program out, but not actually draw the arrows on. Okay, so it's really easy marks to miss. It's only 1 mark, super easy. Now there's no single right way of doing it, but it's always good practice to take the quickest or shortest route possible, which will be up this way, turn right, up here, and this way again, or equally we could come up this way and go this way. Okay, some students will sometimes come up this way, go across here, up and this way. It's just much longer. Okay, make life easy for yourselves. Okay, so we're going to draw our arrows on and get to B. Easy mark. So we've gone forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, turn right 1, 2, 3, turn left this time, 1, 2, 3, turn right, and again going forward 1, 2, 3, forward 3. Now this time, in part D, the program below was produced to guide the rover from point A to point B, but there are some problems in the program. Okay, I'll give you a second to see if you can work out what they are. Now it's always good exam technique to think, okay, there are some errors, but how many do we need to find? Now we can see it's a 3-mark question, so that probably tells us that it's looking for 3 different bits of information from us. Okay, so let's see what we can spot. Let's start with the first command, FT. What does FT mean? We're not sure. If we can't remember, let's go back to the beginning. Okay, and look up here. Was there such command as FT? Actually, no, there isn't. We've got FD, RT, and LT, but there's nothing called FT. So there is our first error. Let's circle that. Okay. Second one. So we know that should probably be FD. Okay. So it's trying to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to work out. It's going to take this path up here. So actually, when it gets down to here, this should be an LT. So this is our second error. And the last one is when we go to this step here, 1, 2, 3. So those are our 3 marks. So therefore, the correct program should be, in fact I'll write it on here just so it's not on 2 pages, FD6, LT, FD6, LT, and then FD3, okay? And then that will again then gets our 3 marks. Moving on to question 2, this time we need to match each word with the correct definition below, okay? So let's have a look. Let's see if we've got any clues, okay? So all we need to do is match them up, but rather than drawing lines, for example, make sure that we write our answers in the box, okay? So we've got A, which is breaking a complex problem down into smaller parts. B, which is examining the small problem for similarities, because similarities can help us solve a problem more efficiently. And C, which is a list of rules to follow in order. Okay, now we know the first one. The first one's actually probably the easiest, which is an algorithm. Okay, so an algorithm is a set of instructions. So that leaves either A, B, or B, A. Okay, now remember that we've got a clue with things like similarities here. Okay, looking for similarities to help us solve a problem. So that tells us that this is this one. So 3 is B, and let's just check A. Breaking down a big problem into smaller steps, yep, that will be A. So CAB. The next part is now an algorithm, okay? Because as we said before, an algorithm is just a set of step-by-step instructions. So you've got get your toothbrush, brush teeth, get toothpaste, put toothpaste on your toothbrush, and number 4, clean teeth. Add three more steps, 5, 6, and 7, to the list of instructions shown above. So there's loads of acceptable answers for this. We could have continue for 2 minutes. Let's say spit into sink and then rinse mouth. Okay, so long as the steps are in order and they don't repeat anything that we've done above here, okay, there's plenty of acceptable answers here. Okay, now it says look at step 3. How would you make this step more accurate and unambiguous? Okay, so step 3 here says put toothpaste on your toothbrush. Now most of my students fell down on this part. Okay, they will put things like you could add more detail, or you maybe should tell them how to do it. But that's exactly what the question is asking you to do. Okay, so there's 2 ways we could get the mark for this question here. It's a 1 mark question. Does it tell us where on the toothbrush to put your toothpaste? Actually, no, it doesn't. So we might say place toothpaste onto the bristles. Okay, that'd be a really, really good answer for that one. Okay, the other thing it doesn't tell us actually is how much toothpaste to put. Okay, so we might say put pea-sized amount onto your bristles. Okay, so let's have a look at. So let's have a look at the next part now, coming down onto this page. Okay, decompose. These are the instructions for actually cleaning your teeth. If you can't remember, we can go back to the question above, assuming we got it right. So decompose means to break it down into further steps. So what we don't want is actually for any of these to now say clean teeth, or any mentioning of adding toothpaste, because we've done that before already in the previous steps. Okay, what we want is more clarification, more detail, breaking this big step into much smaller steps. So you could say clean top teeth for 3 minutes. 2 minutes. Clean bottom teeth for 2 minutes. And then we might even add, I would allow things like maybe like brush tongue. As long as it's very clear and it's nothing that should either come before or after, will be an acceptable answer for this part. Excellent. Okay, so moving on to question 3, name 3 software apps or applications. Okay, now depending on how strict your teacher is, personally I would say make sure that you apply it to computers rather than things like your phone. Okay. Now, yes, technically, apps on your phone are software applications, but remember, this is computer science, so we're probably looking for applications you would use on a desktop computer or a laptop. Okay. So you might start with something like Microsoft Word, Outlook. We've got loads to choose from. Any of the Microsoft package. If you've ever used CAD design, you might have used things like 2D design or SketchUp. You've got absolutely hundreds and hundreds to choose from on that list. Okay. Now the next part, list 2 operating systems. Okay, operating system software. Remember, an operating system is a piece of software, but unlike these ones above here, it's a piece of software which runs other software. Okay, so that might be, if you think of your phone, if you're an iPhone user, that would be Apple iOS. Or if you're using iMac, OS, other ones, we've now got things like Android. Could also allow like Windows, Linux. We've got plenty to choose from. Brilliant. Okay, on to part C now. Here we've got a matching up task. There we go. It all fits on. Let's make my pen a little bit smaller. There we go. Okay. So we need to match up which program goes with which label. Okay. So let's have a quick look through. Always go for the easy ones first. Okay, make life easy for yourself. So let's read part A. I want to be able to crop an image and change the brightness and contrast. Well, quite obviously, if it's talking about brightness and an image, that's going to be this one here. Okay, so we know 3 is A. Okay. Let's have another look down to part B. Here we go. I want to modify a film. Okay, so instantly that jumps out to us as being number 7. Okay. I want to write an essay. Let's have a look down this list. Could be desktop publishing. Could be Word. Let's leave that one for the moment. Let's have a look further down this list. Storing information could be loads of these ones, so we're not sure on that. I want to be able to calculate how many products I've sold and how much money I've made. Number E. Okay. So something that can do calculating. Do we have a calculator on this list? No, we don't. But we do have a spreadsheet application. Okay. Now remember, using formula, you can use spreadsheets for doing some. So 5 is going to be E. F, I want to be able to delete the voice of the person speaking at the beginning of the soundtrack. That's obviously this one. G, I want to be able to play a DVD on my laptop. That will be that. So 9 is G. Right, and A is I want to be able to make a poster. Okay. So this one is now there. So that's I, desktop publishing, things like Microsoft Publisher. That leaves number 2, presentation software, which will be that one there. So we're left with 4 and 6. Okay, so that would be either I want to be able to store information about students, or I want to be able to write an essay. So quite clearly, the word processor one is the essay, and number 6, the database application, is storing information. So your answers are I, H, A, C, E, D, B, F, G. Okay, moving down now to question 4. Here we have an example of a student who's found an inappropriate website. What should he do? Okay, so one more question. So we're only looking for one thing from this, but there's lots of things you could say, like close it, report it, block the website, but really the only acceptable thing you'll get a mark for is telling a trusted adult. Okay, you might specify parent, teacher, other one. All you want is to say tell an adult. Okay, and instantly you've got your marks. Likewise for part B. Okay, here we need to write a list of rules about how people should behave on Twitter. Loads of possible answers here. Things like no bullying, use appropriate language, keep your keep your account details private, don't share personal data, don't talk to strange people you don't know, behave appropriately, use sensible language, loads of things that we can consider. And I think most of you are bright enough, I don't need to go over that step by step. Okay. Similar sort of question for this one. Okay. So someone's created a new account on a social network app and is asking for lots of personal information. Should she share all her personal information with the social network app? Okay. But here we've got 2 marks in this case. We need a little bit more. The first mark is for quite simply saying no. Okay, if you left the question there, that's your first mark. That's absolutely great. Okay, but we need a bit more, so we might say something such as only share what is absolutely necessary, or if she's uncomfortable with sharing certain data, then don't. Okay. Right, question 5. This one can look a bit tricky because it actually flows over 2 pages. Okay. So in this case, we've got a flowchart which can react differently depending on the number given. Okay. So firstly, name 2 variables used in this algorithm. Okay, let's come back up here to have a look. Okay. Remember that a variable is a piece of memory or a container which can change its value. Okay. So it stores a piece of data, it stores a value, but it can change that. And the way we can spot them is always with just one little symbol, okay, which is our equal symbol. Remember, in coding in Python, equals doesn't mean equals, okay? Equals assigns a value to a variable, okay? So here's our first one, okay? Our variable is number, okay, not 7. That's the value of it, but our actual variable is called number. And now we know that, we've got the second one, which is guess. Okay, now don't be thrown by either what is your guess or number. Okay, if you put that as your answer or number, okay, that wouldn't be an acceptable answer. Guess is your variable name. So let's pop those in there. And lastly, this algorithm includes sequence, selection, and iteration. Okay, we need to work out which one is which from A, B, and C. Okay. In fact, let's get rid of these markings first so we can just see. Okay, so we got, let's write them on the side here. And selection. Okay, first one. Iteration means to repeat. Okay, like when your teacher or parent reiterates something, that means to repeat it. So we need to look for something that goes backwards to repeat this in the flowchart. And we can see that here in A, because this repeats and goes back. Okay, so iteration is A. Let's look at sequence now. So sequence is something which goes in order. Okay, and because this can only go one way, that will be B. And selection is where we have an option as to what it can potentially do. Okay, so there's a number of paths the flowchart can take. So now for C, okay, where it says does guess equal number. In fact, actually there's an error in that code. That should be double. That should be 2 equals. It can go this way or it can go this way as well. Okay, so your answers are iteration, sequence, and selection. Now, number 6. Here are 2 Scratch algorithms that can be used to draw a triangle. Which one's more efficient, A or B? I think all of you will get this right. Quite simply, B. Okay, well, that's your easiest mark. 1 mark, that's all you've got to put. But the second mark, why do you think that this is more efficient? Okay, quite simply, it's shorter, or we could put the word efficient. Okay, it's much easier to make it, and it's easier to write. And lastly, for C, it uses repeat 3 to draw a triangle. If you were to produce a program to draw a pentagon, you would use repeat what? Okay, so let's have a look. So it uses repeat 3 here to draw a pentagon. To draw a triangle, but to draw a pentagon, we would need to change it to 5. Okay. Actually, technically, there is a bit more to this question as well if you're being really pedantic, because we would also need to change your number of degrees it will turn as well. Okay, otherwise it will just draw 1.5 triangles. Great. Okay, so number 7. A computer receives input data where it processes and outputs. Okay, we need to fill in the missing gaps. Okay, so let's miss the first one. Let's look at the second one. 3 does something here to make it into 12. Okay, and all we have to put is times by 4. Therefore, the first one actually might be, let's see if we can work this out, it reverses the order of letters. So what we have to do is write these backwards. Computer. The third one here, the processing instruction might say all capitals. And the third one, and the fourth one down the bottom here, we need to work out the output. A bit of a maths question, but remember your bod mass, it is 110. Okay, on to question 8. Okay, talking about how you search for things, how you use a search engine, most commonly Google, but to refine your results. Okay, a few potential answers here. You might refer to your Boolean method, so use and or not. Okay, equals to say and or actually in Google to exclude things we say to exclude we use parentheses, not parentheses, a minus symbol, okay, to exclude a certain term. Okay, anything like that would be a suitable answer. Okay, you might also want to perhaps sort by date, okay, or to filter it to a certain range. Then we find one website with information where he can't be sure that this information is true. What can he do to verify that what he has found is true? Quite simply, see if it appears on other websites. So he's cross-checking his information. And they give one reason why some searches appear above others when you use a search engine. Now, a lot of students for this one will put because it's the most popular, and that's actually not true. I could launch a website today and have it at the top of Google tomorrow, and the way I would do that would be by quite simply paying Google for it to be a sponsored result. Okay. Other acceptable answers would be the number of hyperlinks on that website. Okay, so the number of hyperlinks to, from, or within the website itself. Okay, but popularity isn't an answer for that one. Finally, on to question 9. Label this desktop computer system. Here we have monitor, speaker, keyboard, mouse, and this one throws some people, okay, because quite often in schools you'll actually have an all-in-one computer, so your PC or your computer will be within your screen, within your monitor, but actually in this example here, this here is your computer or your PC. And final question, we need to label these hardware components. This one here is your motherboard. This one here with Intel is your CPU. And this last one here with those chips is your RAM, that's your memory. Okay, I hope that's been helpful, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.